This was perhaps expected, certainly feared. The third reactor at Fukushima nuclear plant exploded mid-morning. Attempts had been made to cool the reactor, even with seawater. It didn't work. The Japanese government says that 6 people were injured in the explosion. The wind direction would appear to be encouraging. You can see the smoke cloud drift out to sea. That will help any leaking radiation travel the same way.
Explosion of 3 is similar to number 1 reactor. I've spoken to the plant manager, and according to him, the containment vessel is intact, and there's little possibility that radioactive waste is being dispersed in large volumes.
Okay, so just to reiterate the fact of what we're dealing with in California public education, and as it's getting into more of the country, is you can clearly see from this radiation map that within the 30 hours before we were able to get the containment in around the Fukushima plant, that the radiation had already spread to the West Coast. Knowing that was coming, of course, the vaccinations happened for a number of people, but as we know, progressive left coast, West Coast California, a number of people don't have the vaccination. Your fellows that are zombies, this is exactly why. So with this sort of pattern, you can see how Vancouver has a large number of zombies, Seattle has a large number of zombies, and of course the whole Bay Area has the most significant number of zombies in America.
How do you feel about zombies being involved in the student body?
You know, I being involved in public education, I want to include all of the students that are in California to be here. And who am I to judge or to, you know, racially profile any group of people? And zombies have just as much of a right to be here as any other student. So I think that we need to be progressive and accept them into the school body and realize that they're not going to go away.
Do you feel burdened teaching zombified students?
You know, that's the funny thing, and maybe that's why I have the viewpoint I do. The zombie students tend to be some of my best students. They often aren't interrupting, they don't talk, they sit and they only focus on one thing at a time. So as long as they've fed recently, homework isn't a problem, classwork's great. Sometimes if it's getting close to lunch, we do have to not sit near them, but otherwise, I think they're my best students.
Does the literacy of zombies differ from that of normal students?
Well, over the years, some of the zombie students are actually quite interested. They like to read, especially the old Gothic tales. It gives them something to feel comfortable with. They seem to identify, especially Poe. They enjoy Poe and that sort of thing. And sometimes they're a little slow moving, but otherwise they're doing quite well. Quite well, yes.
Do you feel as though zombified students are less of a challenge to teach than that of a regular student?
Less of a challenge. Let me see. Less of a challenge. They are well behaved. They are well behaved, generally speaking, the zombified students, and they have no problem when Halloween comes around. They can dress up, and on Spirit Day they're quite entertaining. Yes, less of a challenge. No, I'm pretty happy now that we have zombie inclusion in our classes. It's quite comfortable. Yes.
Is it difficult reteaching Spanish to zombified students?
Es difícil enseñar a los cadáveres resucitados en la clase de español.
Sí, es muy difícil porque a veces se quedan dormidos o se desaparecen.
Do you feel as though it's a burden teaching zombie students?
¿Usted siente que es una carga enseñar a los estudiantes que son cadáveres resucitados?
Sí, pues no vale ni la pena, al cabo ya no están en este mundo, ya para qué.
What differences has the body gone through since being infected with the radiation?
Well, there's quite a few things that happen after you get radiation. Depending on the amount you get, will determine the severity of these effects. So you start out feeling not much, like just changes in your body chemistry. And after a couple hours, you might feel some nausea, vomiting, and then hair loss starts to occur. And then after that, it gets a lot worse. There's diarrhea and hemorrhaging from the tissues dying inside of you, and then usually death ensues right after that. It's kind of disgusting, unfortunately.
Are zombified students not included in certain biology labs when live animals or dissection labs are involved?
You know what? I like to include them because they seem to have no problem with slicing up dead things. So it just seems like they're used to seeing that in the mirror, and they seem to have no problem with it and actually do better than my other students.
Does it feel awkward teaching zombie students about the change in their biology?
Only when they haven't gone through the full spectrum of it, because I don't want them to get too scared. But I generally think the more you know, the better off you'll be.
What's your reaction knowing zombies are allowed to be involved in your drama classes?
Oh, it's been quite an interesting experience. I'm all for diversity and everything, you know, black, white, Asian, dead, undead, you know, it's all kind of a great mix, but zombies, it's quite interesting. Warm-ups has been very interesting, you know, we'll be doing this and stretching and everything, and all of a sudden a finger ends up on the floor. And of course, some kid will say, "Oh, you're giving me the finger, huh?" Well, it's not very good.
We have heard of a zombified student attacking you in the past. How did that attack happen?
It's really painful to talk about. He tried to eat part of my ear during warm-up. I thought he was doing the dying Catholic, but he came in and tried to bite me on the ear. What ended up happening was he surprised me from behind, and I went like this, and I knocked his mouth off, and I didn't mean to. His jaw fell on the floor, and the doctors could do nothing to repair it. So, poor Johnny. He'd only been dead for 10 years. It was a horrifying experience. I really don't like to talk about it.
Has this changed your opinion on having zombie students involved in your classes?
I love my undead students. Just don't try to bite me.
Oh my god, are you okay? Oh my god. I can see some of the changes happening. How does that feel?
It's really painful. You wouldn't expect it to hurt this bad, but it does. And I didn't know it would happen to me. I was safe. I would try, not to be near them. But one of them got me on my wrist, so, sometimes you just can't help it.
What's it like knowing you'll be a full zombie in a few hours?
In a few hours? I need some time to think.
How is your social life now that you've turned into a zombie?
I feel like an outcast because I feel like everybody just stares at me since I look different, and it makes me kind of feel bad, but I'm kind of glad that there's other zombies around me, so it's kind of like I'm not the only one, and yeah.
Do teachers treat you differently now?
Actually no, because I'm actually like a well-rounded student, so it makes it really easy for me to understand everything and then be an academic achiever in school.
What are you planning on doing right now?
We've heard that you were dating someone for over a year that was zombified. What happened to you two?
Oh, zombies. Her, man. I don't even. No. Just zombies. I don't want someone. No.
How do you feel about zombified students being involved in school?
No, we're not. That's not happening.
Yeah, just.
That's
They
not.
can all go to hell.
Oh, you guys really want zombies walking around here, just doing whatever the hell they want to do? They're sloppy as hell for one. They eat anything that comes off the trees.
The dirty cheaters in sports.
Dirty cheaters.
Like one time I hit a ball in the outfield, he just threw his hand in the air and then he caught it. And I was just like, what the f is that all about? The blue called that out.
And that's a foul.
And it's a foul. I mean, I don't want to be daywalkers. That's all I can say.